Alright. Okay, Keith, just brief interview really, for purposes of critical analysis. I want to talk about your branding, your current branding, really why it is, if you have any branding, why you have branding, if at all, and any reasoning for that branding in the first place and where it might have come from. So I suppose first question I'll ask is, do you have any branding? Do you have a brand?
I think the simple answer to that is no.
Okay, why no? Why do you think you don't have a brand?
This sort of like um, part of my musical journey has happened fairly recently, and it came as a bit of a shock to me. I sort of woke up just a few years ago and wanted to write some music, so I've been sort of concentrating on writing. Um, some of it's song based, some of it just music, but been wanting to like really explore new ways of doing things if there are any. And it's been quite an interesting journey. Um, Having sort of like wrote quite a lot of stuff in the first couple of years, I thought, well, there's no point in just me doing this and nobody hearing it. So I decided to go out and play some songs. My music hasn't really got played, but I've gone out. I've gone out there and played some of my songs. And I've not really thought about branding or who I am in the whole of the sort of like musical world in terms of style or anything really. I've just sort of like written on, on a clean sheet of paper what what came into my head.
Yeah, I mean that was the question I was going to ask you is, have you actually thought about branding? But from what you've said, it seems like you sort of have thought about branding or started to, because I suppose you, from what you just said, you started to want to play your songs
Yeah,
to other people.
yeah.
Um, did that? Why did you want to do that? Why did you want to play it to other people?
Well, I suppose I wanted to connect with people in terms of what I've been writing, because otherwise it's just me writing for me.
How do you feel you connect with people then?
Um,
When people watch you, what do you think they see?
I think they find it quite 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 a strange appearance, um, because I've written some stuff in and out of standard time. I've got a very sort of low, fairly unpalatable voice. I'd put it really compared with. I mean, it wouldn't be considered as a singing voice. So I think it's quite probably quite a difficult experience for people to listen to what I'm doing. Having said that, I've had quite quite a lot of people who've really sort of gone, wow, what's that about? You know, and the majority still won't get it.
Have comments like that made you start to think about how people perceive you, with an understanding, a basic understanding of branding? Um, had you started to think about how people perceive you when they see you, when you play live, which is what you.
Um, I suppose in a sense, I mean, yeah, of course you're conscious from the moment you start playing. But I wouldn't have perceived it until recently as branding. I would have just perceived it as some sort of acceptance or some sort of connection of acceptance.
What are the reasons for you apart? Are there any other reasons apart from waking up one day and suddenly wanting to be very creative? Are there any other reasons why you decided to pick up a guitar now rather than pick it up many years ago?
Well, it's strange, really. I mean, this might sound a bit odd, but I had a dream one night of phenomenal dream, and there were sort of like colours of notes in a random order, sort of floating through the universe. And that morning I got up and thought, wow, I've got to go and write some music.
Had you previously never wrote music before?
No.
So,
I mean, I didn't. I mean, I'd sort of had some training in guitar years before, but I'd never considered I'd be wanting to write or have the inspiration. It was just like I don't know what you'd call it, just some strange phenomenon that happened in my head one night.
it's what is it? It's like a not premonition. It's like a premonition of vision.
Yeah,
Isn't it? It's one of those
yeah.
things. How does that then relate to your taking that into contents? What are your comments then on your sort of comments regarding your not thinking about branding and not really thought about branding at all? How did those comments you made there? What is your overall comment on that versus the comments of how you came about doing your music? Is there a connection there? Is there something you can comment on about between what you said about your current branding and how you came about music?
Yeah, there is, because I'm trying to write I'm trying to write music that isn't as linear as it's been. I'm trying to write, which is not. It's not just like, it's very creative and it's a really nice journey for me, but it's very difficult for listeners because it's like, what's going on there? If I can sort of like, I don't want to sort of like strip my music apart too much, but if you sort of see a song as a sort of a beat in the melody, I've tried that's normally in sort of 4/4 or 3/4 or 6/8 or whatever. I've tried to start off with. I stripped away time signatures. I was writing out a lyric, so I've got patterns of 4s and 3s and 6s and they swap. Sometimes on the beat, sometimes it moves off the beat. So it's quite. I think I'm digressing a little bit, but it's quite challenging to write. And instead of it, I think the main point I was going to make, instead of music being like, I don't know how other people perceive it, but if I was to think of it as in a linear fashion of just up and down, I'm trying to write it so you get more like an orchestra where you've got patches of sound here, patches of sound there, patches of sound there, and it's still moving up and down.
Yeah.
Okay. So how that works in with branding, I mean, in terms of songs, it's challenging. It's challenging for me to produce it, and not so challenging to write it, but it's challenging for me to replicate that particular space, and it's very challenging for people to hear, because the frames of reference are changed, and that's what I'd consider myself a writer. You see, not really, and trying to forge a small new groove in music, or yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
All right. Cheers.